If you're a new or new-ish writer, you've probably heard people talk about how you should read the kind of stuff that you want to write. So, for example, if you want to write a fantasy novel, you should read a ton of fantasy novels. And that makes sense. But historically, I haven't been much of a fiction reader. But I've wanted to write a novel for a long time now. It's one of those bucket list items. Write a novel. That's my goal. I can sit and churn out nonfiction all day, but fiction is impossibly hard for me to write, as I've stated before on the podcast. I consider myself a very creative person, but not in that way, not in a fiction writing kind of way. Well, for the past month or so, I've been reading a lot of fiction, and much more than I normally read. I've actually read 8 fiction books so far in May, 6 of which were Agatha Christie mystery novels, which I'm now a huge fan of. They're awesome. And again, I've had the time to read these because I've been sick and wanting to not do anything productive. And the more I read these mystery novels, the more I think to myself, yeah, I could write one of these. And I actually have a goal to read all of Agatha Christie's novels, and I expect that after that I'll have a pretty darn good handle on what makes for a good mystery. I don't know if what I'll end up writing will be a good mystery, but at least I'm fairly certain that I'll be able to produce a mystery. Mechanically speaking, I think that I'll be able to write the mystery, which is not something I could say before I started reading all of these mystery novels. So that's reading what you want to write as far as fiction is concerned. I also read what I want to write where nonfiction is concerned, except that I do it in a slightly different way and for a different reason. I don't have a mental block about writing nonfiction like I do with fiction, but whenever I write a nonfiction book about something, I buy and read the existing books that are similar to what I'll be writing. A couple months ago, for example, I wanted to write a book about travel tips, and so I went onto Amazon and bought and read several other books that were along those lines. I did this so that I could make my book better than all of those books. It's kind of a know your enemy kind of thing, though obviously not quite that dramatic or serious. And I think that what I wrote did indeed end up being better because I had read those other books in the same niche there. So whether you plan to write fiction or nonfiction, it's a great idea to read as much of it as you can, especially stuff that is closely related to the kind of thing you want to write, and especially if you are not that familiar with the style of what you want to write or the genre that you want to write in.